Yo, the crowd is back, the lights are dim. Front row's buzzing, it's about to begin. Ad tech, ad talk, they're taking the stage. Adam and Gareth on a knowledge rampage. Ad tech, ad talk, it's a live Q&A. Buy side, sell side, clearing the way. CEO spitting truth, no delay. Chalice and camera.
Hello and welcome. It's Friday. It's noon. It is November 7th, and we are live with Ad Tech Ad Talk. Gareth, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great, Adam. How are you, buddy?
I could not be better. I'm so excited about the incredible things happening in ad tech this week that we will talk about with our esteemed guest. Remember, everything on Ad Tech Ad Talk is brought to you by Pontiac Intelligence, a low-cost, flexible, and transparent DSP. Why don't you build one of those, Gareth? Oh, you're a sell-side guy. You're not building any DSP, are you?
Just not enough intelligence.
That's right.
Just not enough.
All right, it's jam-packed show today. Last week we debuted a new feature on the show called Postmortem, where we cover the most notable ad tech social media posts of the week. It was funny last week, but this week I'm afraid is deadly serious. Something extremely unfortunate happened in ad tech social media that we have no choice but to cover. And what happened is a breakup between two incredibly close friends. Yes, what happened is Jeff Green unfriended Brian O'Kelly on LinkedIn. And the ad tech world has never really been through anything like this before. We couldn't find any words to cover it, to express how we felt. So we turned, Gareth, where did we turn?
AI.
We
what
turned
has
to
all
AI.
the answers.
And it did have the answers. And we hope you find this as cathartic as we did. As David Maldo, please cue up the AI coverage of the most momentous breakup in ad tech social media history.
Two young men, a bond so tight, dreams lit the sky, stars in their sight. One sought the world, the planet to save, the other a web, a digital wave. A choice, a break, a path untold, the forking road, hearts turn cold. Torn apart by lines of code. How could the world carry the load? Dreams collide, yet hope persists. Both investors and the chalice twist.
That's how I
Gareth, can you take the mic?
feel. I mean, I tried to explain this to my wife while we were lying in bed, and I really just had trouble conveying how important this is to everything that's going on, not just in ad tech, but in the world. It's really foundational, these LinkedIn posts. And I went and I LinkedIn added someone who had removed me as part of this, and I'm trying to do my part to heal the world.
Chat, can we
because-
have some feedback on that? I see there's a bunch of people in the chat. There's a feedback of the work of the various AIs and the Chalice marketing team, Marley and Sasha, on the video. I think it deserves a few notes of recognition from the chat there. Let us know what you think. We're not even sure if we're going out.
Also, that could have been a Journey song. Just saying, full on. It was. The quality is disturbing
It's
almost.
getting better. Getting
Yeah.
better. That's the same artist who did our theme song, by the way. All right, so we have a guest, we have an esteemed guest, one of my favorite ad tech people, one of everybody's favorite ad tech people. You know, when you see an ad tech person go from finance into ad tech, well, this guy invented that. Everyone who does that is copying this guy. He's the original. Or if you see somebody go from Harvard into ad tech, that's also following this guy. Or if you see someone go out of ad tech and back into finance, which is rare, but also something this guy did first. Please welcome Mr. Aperiam Ventures, Joe Zawadzki.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for coming, buddy.
Oh, this is great.
Good,
Good
right?
afternoon.
What'd you
Sorry.
think of the video?
Just magnificent. I realized, Terry's out there being like, AI is making this parody stuff way too easy.
Yep.
As you guys are delivering.
It's the productivity leap is just beyond what anyone is ready to deal with. Are you using AI in your work?
Indeed. I'm a chat first, Claude second, dabble in the others, the fates, as it were.
And what do you use it for? Research?
It's kind of my favorite product collaborator. I do open-throated, like 6 to 9 minute just word clouds, and it's pretty good at transcribing that, structuring it, giving me back like the one pager. It sort of gets me past the blank page problem. And then I've got something that I can share with people, and it's like, okay, Joe's non-linearity kind of gets translated into something that's like well structured enough. It's like the Amazon PR FAQ type model, and I love it. It never gets upset with me. It never never gets bored. It's like it's the most wonderful product collaborator.
Now, you said something in there that intrigues me. Joe Zawadzki doesn't have a blank page problem. That can't be. You have an idea every 30 seconds.
Structured output,
I see. So
right?
it's the messy page problem.
Yeah, it's kind of giving it, being able to give it to somebody from, one shot prompts to get to fit enough to circulate that other people can sort of vibe with it. I think that's what I love it for.
All right. So where's your, I don't want to use the F word and say, where are you focused? I want to say, where's your time been spent lately when you're not playing with ChatGPT to develop business ideas?
Labor of love, like Adam, you certainly know that it's been a long-standing goal is to kind of be the industry's tip of spear. So a lot of strategic co-investors as LPs.
Yep.
As sort of the primary backers of both our early stage fund and then an upcoming growth stage or catalyst fund that we're also raising to kind of professionalize the SPV work that we sort of chopped a lot of wood on the past couple of years. But in any case, really love this idea of having sort of a cross section of the industry, kind of a Noah's Ark of investors across indie agency and holdco, and then public and private ad tech companies and a couple of media companies in the mix, and just being out there kind of bird dogging on their collective behalves to find the categories and the companies that will be relevant for them in the 2 to 5 year time horizon, and then do the crosstalk of getting portfolio companies connected to those strategics and to jointly some bigger opportunities out there and kind of move the market through a distributed portfolio of investments. So what that means is a fund, and then a lot of the kind of activation or orchestration, machinery and sort of scaffolding along on the other side. And it's been, 8 years worth of work to kind of get here, and I'm delighted that we got to, first close of one of the next 2 fund vehicles, and kind of feels like that was a big milestone to be off and running.
It's so cool. Yeah, you're investing in the industry, right? It's not really about investing in, I mean, you do invest in companies, but as a means to invest in the whole space.
100%. And then the fun part is the spooky action at a distance, where you're trying to get a bunch of those companies to kind of move together to solve bigger problems, and,
We
move from
hate each
today's
other.
world to tomorrow's. So it's fun.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of competition and rivalry within the Aperiam group. That of course everyone's nice to each other.
Yeah,
Oh, are they? Are they, Adam?
No, no, no. There's a lot of intense competition, hiring each other's people, to, borrowing people's ideas and slogans. There's a lot of overlap in our market positioning within the family. So, it's a cooperation. That's what that's what Wu-Tang was like. They were competitive rappers who joined together to make it. So
like pre-bid and open ads.
perhaps.
There you go. But I think you probably appreciate this. Both you guys have been doing this for long enough to sort of see the trends, right? Where people that were competitors one day become collaborators, the next day, or have joint projects where collaboration again makes much more sense than sort of local competition. And you'll often see acquisitions happen with people that were fiercely competitive. And I think if you take a long enough view, general philosophy is even if it starts friends close, enemies closer.
Yeah.
People do evolve together in the industry, and occasionally people have little tantrums and unfriend each other on LinkedIn. But we're all human. It's okay. It's all for the greater good.
Yeah, I don't think people realize like that's like like Simons and Chalice probably enjoy pitching each other's customers and stealing one now and then, but neither of us are big enough to have like a strategy around conquesting each other. We're both small companies. We're trying to compete with we're both trying to compete with much larger companies, and the custom algorithm category growing is much more important to our future than stealing someone else's slice of that. And right, that could be hard to remember, as well as most people on the outside don't realize that how true it is of an emerging category. When you put the numbers down, like their revenue is not big enough added to our revenue to get where we're going. So we can't focus on them.
Yeah, it was you had that observation, pretty early that being one of one in a category, you had to get really lucky to kind of run the table. And if instead, you've had a couple of local, new competitors spring up, it sort of validated that this was a thing that more people should pay attention to. And then you had multiple marketing departments kind of showing up and banging on doors. And, you sometimes people need to hear something 2 or 3 times from 2 or 3 different people to pay attention.
Yep.
And you created a custom algo category that, now is, I think, pretty robust. And the tricky part, but one that I think Chalice has done an amazing job of, is staying at the front of a movement that you create, right?
Yeah.
How do you stay relevant as other people start showing up and continue to be sort of the the kind of leader of that pack? So
Yeah.
tough
We would
job.
bet on the modular container thing as being the way to stay ahead. And it looks like, if I may say so myself, we did it again. We're the first to really talk about it, and now it's a thing.
Yeah, no doubt, and doing it with another one of the market leaders and our dear friends at Index. So
Yeah.
love it when
Good
we
Amazon and OpenX.
fair enough.
All right, Gareth, do you know Joe? Do you guys meet?
I do know Joe because we've been talking to Aperiam, and I know Joe from my former life at RTK when I actually tried to sell RTK to Joe at one point.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear
At
about
which
that.
point Joe replied, "It would be easier for me to invest in you than to buy RTK," which
It's
was
very Joe.
interesting. Yeah, it was interesting. The way it registered at the time, and I remember the meeting in was it 1 World Trade or 3 World Trade?
We were 4.
You were 4.
Yep.
I loved that office. That media math office was gorgeous. But yeah, it's so funny to come to this now, like doing another rodeo after running a process, like as a founder, because running a process is a
Tell the people what running a process is.
apologies, I'm just throwing it out there. So running a process means you're working with normally an investment banker, and there are different types of investment bankers, right? There are investment bankers who help companies go
selling
public,
your company.
and then
I
there's
think
this
there are
type.
buy side and sell side investment bankers.
There are, yeah, 100% there are buy side and sell
No
side
dragons.
investment
I
bankers.
tried for that.
Oh,
Gamera. Warm up the coffee. Gamera. No.
there we go. It's just a little delayed. I think we just have to be patient with it. It's moody. But yeah, so when you're selling your company, you work with an investment banker, and they basically pitch you on hey, here's a laundry list of companies that we can introduce you to that we think will be good for you. Now pay us $50,000 and then we'll go out and we'll do that for you. And this is a
Sounds
warning
bad.
to everyone who is like a founder or ever in those shoes. There are lots of people who are going to say that to you who are just trying to take your money. That is very, very common. There are a lot of predatory bankers out there, but there are also some very, very good ones who add a lot of value. And to be fair, the investment bank that I worked with did introduce me to our eventual acquirer, Rubicon. Um, and something
Huh.
else that one of my buddies, apropos to the conversation you guys were just having, a friend of mine, a guy named Marty, who I love, he's the man. Do you guys know Marty from Block Through?
Oh yeah, Montreal Marty, the best.
Montreal Marty, he's the best.
You know, Joe
Um,
Zawadzki's from Montreal as well.
oh,
Montreal, say it right.
Canadians.
I'm
So,
in Ontario. I'm the
yeah,
Anglophone side.
Oh,
ah,
sorry.
It's all right.
yeah, geez.
Happen to love Montreal though. Top top 10 worldwide cities.
I thought you
I've
were the
actually never been. I
munch.
really want to go. But he made a really good point. Block Through one acquired a direct competitor called Up On It. That was a bunch of really smart Israelis with really good tech, and then eventually sold the company to IO, who owned the Acceptable Ad Exchange, who was a direct competitor.
Yep.
In each of these scenarios, Marty did M&A activity with people who were competitors. And has made the point to me, like, Gareth, a lot of people told me not to talk to them. A lot of people said, like, don't open your kimono, like, don't like have these discussions. And both of them were wonderful, right? Like, one was the exit for the company. And I think there's really something to that where when you're in a startup situation and you're a founder, there's this really powerful impulse towards keeping it a secret, as though there's some like magical thing that you have where if people hear like if people hear it from you, A, they're not going to hear it from someone else, but B, if you say it, it might end up in this horrible thing. And sure, that does happen, but I think a lot of people shoot themselves in the foot and miss out
I
on
find your
business
lack of
development
faith
opportunities
disturbing.
by making an assumption that I should keep my mouth shut. And like a lot of the time, you never know how people are going to react. You never know the situation that people are in. The priorities that they have might not be what you think they are. And yeah, it's very interesting how co-opetition is the thing.
There's a total insight there, which is I think the pattern is like first time founders build in stealth, and then second time founders appreciate that ideas are great, but it's all execution and getting out there and telling people about it is one way to it's marketing, right? It's reach and frequency of just meeting the market and letting people know what you're working on and sort of generating that momentum. And then same deal, first time founders tend to really focus on product as sort of the holy grail, the chalice. And then you start thinking second time founders really focused on distribution, right? And really about how do you get this product out there. And it's the sort of patterns are pretty consistent. So good insight, Gareth.
Oh, thank you, Joe. I mean, I used to joke with people I would never invest in a fish tank. Like whenever my friends come to me for their startups, I'm like, "Are you sure?"
You
Like,
sure? Yeah, you just ask who's going to sell this for you because you don't want to be selling this.
Right.
This idea is too good. The better your idea, the harder it is to sell.
oh, that sounds right.
The weirder. It's the weirder, right? Just the notion of an idea makes it harder to sell. It means it's different than what already exists. And people by nature prefer to buy what already exists. And in media especially, there's a huge tailwind behind the stuff that already exists. Like it's a lot of process-oriented players putting together media plans, and if your idea takes them out of process, it's friction. Their
PMPs,
whole
bro.
what
PMPs. PMPs. We
PMPs
love them.
friction.
We love PMPs. Get rid
Yeah,
of
so
that friction. Just keep slinging deal IDs.
me and Marley made a new Chalice product strategy deck. It's a tree, and PMPs are the fruit of the tree. So we would say like it's bid models at the roots, and audiences are steady trunk. But PMPs are the fruit of the tree that anyone can come
Fruit of
up
the vine. That's
and
what
pick. You
we
don't have to
get. We get
integrate at all.
PMPs.
I'm kind of amazed at this topic right now. It's I was at the Bid Switch Connect conference on Wednesday, and it came up like 3 or 4 times, just the the deal ID proliferation, that people now are starting to swing back to, open auction because they're finding that the, overhead of the deal ID is, perhaps not worth it. And certainly the risk of zombie deal IDs that, 300 of them stuffed into a bid request where most of the buyers truncated after the first 15 and they just kind of hang out there, and people bundling economics and into the the PMP or the PG or the deal ID as a it's almost a return to the open exchange as a sort of the freedom to do things without those sort of constraints. And then like really credible people getting up there and having like debates as to whether these are good things or bad things, and sort of the direction of travel from agencies that were otherwise similarly situated. And I'm like, gosh, how did we end up having these like plumber conversations, as sort of often and as sort of energetically as we do. It's a fascinating industry that we built, I think.
It's
Oh
so
man.
accidental. I'll tell it from the buy side. It's that the agency media planning process is still has one foot in pre-digital world. So when
Yeah.
you presented a media plan, it was, we have selected these magazines, these newspapers, right? We're going to be in the Cleveland Plain Dealer and the Dallas Observer. And you'd have a deck full of logos. It's like, these are the properties that we've selected are best to get our message to our audience. And this got brought into the digital world such that a young media planner today is still looking for logos. And if it's like, and if you come in there and say, it should be a consolidated AI strategy with the audience and inventory models developed in-house and then farmed out, whatever, that's all nowhere. What they want to say is, we're working with Epsilon and Media Math, and we're sending some money to Cognitive and have all their logos, just exactly the way they did this old process. So what happened was, in the last decade, 10 years ago especially, the holding companies were trying to shut this down because programmatic created a situation where all these logos were just money out the door. And programmatic had a way we could do the same thing as all these companies and collect those margins ourselves. So there were people going around the agency saying, give the money to the trading desks, give the money to the trading desk, get all these logos out, get Rocketfuel out of here, get Quantcast out of here, get MIQ out of here, get everyone out of here. And they were like reclaimed like $5 billion.
Yep.
But that money, first of all, it didn't disappear, right? All that money just became PMP implementations, because now you could sell those to the trading desk. The media planner could still have their plan with lots of logos. The money still runs through the trading desk, and a bunch of other people get margin, but not as much margin. So it was the conservatism of the agencies that forced the ad tech world to contort into this massive problem of PMP plumbing and deal management and non-transparent margins again. And it's pretty goofy.
Never try to
Oh.
convince somebody of something if they're it's dependent of them not understanding it. I think there's a lot of that sort of evidence of industry and just
Yeah.
mapping yesterday's processes to sort of today's technologies, and I think it never stops. I think there's I do like the financial analog, right, where you had a lot of that too. I think at the beginning of sort of the quant revolution in in the finance world, 20 years predating the one in advertising. You really had a lot of people that were talking about the broker deal would never die, the open outcry, commodity trader inside the stock exchange. Boy, these newfangled machines were never going to get anywhere. And I think people, another sort of cliche, but overestimate the amount of change that happens in 2 years, underestimate the amount that happens in 10.
Yep.
And I think we're going to see that here too, where a lot of the current processes will feel like they're rigid and fixed and sort of a property of how media works. And I think in 10 years time, I think a lot of the we'll see a real change. I do think we're going to get to the agentic first approach, just because if you stepped back and you zoomed out and you said, like, are all these steps in the process necessary? And buying the logos because of media or because of access to audience or as a upstream proxy to outcomes or what have you. If you were to rebuild that thing, where the, machines and logic and math were at the center, I think we'll ultimately get to a much more sort of efficient system, but there will be blood, Adam.
Yeah, good. This is the time where we thank our sponsor, Pontiac Intelligence, a low-cost, flexible, and transparent DSP. Pontiac CEO Keith Guberman is our guest next week. We'll hear a lot more about Pontiac and the work it's doing with sell-side decisioning in CTV and other exciting developments. But let's talk about AI. Gareth, I know you were formulating that. Can I talk about that transition?
Yeah. Well, wait. Let me give you my sell side PMP take first, because you guys got to go on your buy side. I'll tell you what this is for all of our poor publishers out there who are listening. All these PMPs are getting slapped onto publisher inventory with zero knowledge of publishers right now. And I think the reason that that's happening, and the reason we talk about PMPs, the reason we say this, the reason the guts and the plumbing are like so front and center for everyone that Jeff Green is talking about transaction IDs, is we kind of reached this point where there were a few gatekeepers for ad tech. And if you, the gatekeepers are on old platforms, and that's a thing on the buy side and the sell side. The exchanges are old. For exchanges to do new things, they have to use the only flexible piece of infrastructure they have, and that is deal IDs. It's the only thing that's flexible. The rest of it is super inflexible. And then if you want to sell something to a buyer, you got to sell it to DV360 or Trade Desk. Like you have to. Their market share combined is absurd, some horrifying number. So a bunch of old systems where there are basically 4 to 5 companies you have to work with if you're going to build new stuff. All ad tech innovation has now been shoved into the one flexible thing we have, and that's PMPs. It's deal IDs. And this every new innovation that happened in the past 5 years, we were like, jam it into a deal ID because that's the thing we can change. We can't change the other things. They are what they are. The IP address is the IP address. The cookie ID is the cookie ID. Jam it right on in there. And so we got sell-side decisioning. We got all of these different things that just jam into deal IDs. And publishers are just watching this and going, all I hear are more companies taking money from me. That's all I hear. And I keep doing these newfangled technologies and keep slapping this stuff on my page, and I somehow am making less money while OpenAI is taking my traffic away. So thank goodness for AdCP. Thank goodness Brian is there saying he's going to delete all of this, because this doesn't feel like it's serving me. That is the publisher perspective that I don't.
It is a glorious amount of innovation, though. Like I remember in the earliest of days of programmatic itself, right? We had design decisions to make, and I remember back in 2007, 2008, where we kind of decided, hey, do you want to be in the money flow, or do you want to try to create a new category of technology that you had the CMO buy? And you kind of just did a little bit of basic math, and you said, well, I can either create a category to maybe ask for a $50,000 a month SaaS license on an untested, unproven, and unbudgeted new category, or you can jam yourself in the media flow and take an IO and do magical things kind of behind the scenes, right, in order to evangelize, category create, and then potentially ultimately come back to a SaaS or otherwise. I think this deal ID thing is just the modern version of same. It's like you could either be inside of $1 trillion existing flow of funds, or you can be outside of it. And it would be irrational to decide that you're going to be outside of it if it was easy enough to jam a deal ID into DV360 or the Trade Desk and suddenly, have access to thousands, hundreds of thousands of advertisers and their sort of collective demand. So it's just an obvious marketplace reaction. But then, of course, you keep doing that, and it's just so crufty by the time all is said and done. And I'm sympathetic to the poor publisher, right? Of course.
Oh, it's such a good point, Joe. Oh, man. Everyone I talked to about this, like adding a line item, there is no human buying things on earth that wants to add costs. They just don't want to do it. Like, no one wants to add costs. Like maybe very forward-looking people will say, actually, this will be cheaper for me if I add this cost instead of having it hidden over here. But people don't do that. Yeah, you're so right, Joe. I agree.
I face it
Adam,
every
where's your head on
I face it all the time. Every time we make a deal with a data company, it's rev share or fee. We usually take their preference. I just think it's a double-edged sword. Like if it's a rev share, we'll make more money, like because we'll both be motivated to sell it.
this?
If they go with flat fee, we'll make more margin. I mean, I'd rather make money than margin, but I'm not going to cry if we make a little less and have a higher margin. Then it's just the other side. It looks good to investors instead of to the kids' shopping lists.
Yeah, having that sort of financial fluency and just being able to, get out of the way of demand, probably a good best practice, right? Just like, hey, I
Yeah.
can do math on my side. If you want to buy it this way, great. If you want to buy it that way, great. Not my problem.
Yeah, that's a good thing of not having any investors on our board. We're really try to be flexible about that. Let the demands decide how they want to pay. When you're saying there will be blood, I think there's another. I mean, maybe it's like a 10-year thing, but where I think it's going, the agency planning world, is that they're going to have an environment like my Claude MCP environment that I've been talking about every week. And I don't know if you have one. Do you have your open enterprise version of OpenAI attached to other SaaS? Yeah. This is what the agencies want. They want them to have control to all the agency SaaS from one portal, and it's going to leave a lot of room to have applications in there that'll be a bunch of the same logos that they've had in their planning
Totally.
decks since 2008. So yeah, there will be blood. Not everyone will be able to make that transition, but it might end up what I'm saying is that ancient media process might actually survive the AI era. There's going to be a bunch of logos of a bunch of companies that are going to help you with applications in the agency AI environment.
We have two questions in the queue. Joe.
All right, you guys want me to read it out, or you got it?
Yeah, go ahead, Maldo.
This is a question for Joe. Do you think the current level of investment in AI is justified by real value creation, or are we in a speculative phase similar to past tech bubbles?
Yes. We are, I think, in the railroad phase. And there will be overinvestment. I think what's interesting, I think, about the combination of AI plus advertising is, investing in the foundational models is so expensive, right? It's just, I mean, the economics are insane, and it's a winner take all times five in order to make the math work. And I think you're starting to see some of the consequences of that with the effectively round tripping that's happening between the the Microsofts and the OpenAIs and the Nvidias and what have you in terms of government subsidies for tech data centers and the like. And part of that is like, okay, we have to maintain the current level of insane investment. Should AI be the transformative technology that sort of people think it is? People will come out of that both as companies and as investors, getting their faces ripped off, right? And a handful of people will really, really win, and a lot of people will really, really lose. The part I kind of like, and the sounds counterintuitive, is that advertising tends to have like fairly depressed valuations and fairly constrained ones, right? Like good exits in advertising technology are always somewhere between like 5 and 15x revenue. And the bad ones go obviously for less, and you sort of stumble your way into a 1x, and then the great ones done early happen at 20 plus, but constrained. And so you take the sort of muting of valuations, but consistency of valuations of advertising applied to AI. And I think there's real opportunity there to sort of get into fundamentally transformative things, at prices that make sense. And so I kind of like the applied AI opportunity in this next phase, where people are taking the kind of overbuilding and channeling it into particular verticals. And then obviously I've drunk the Kool-Aid of the industry, but happen to think advertising is a really good industry for application of AI. both because of the data problem, but also because budgets are wildly elastic. Like it's $1 trillion industry where, you still have, handshakes doing deals. You still are able to jam a deal ID into a trading platform and siphon off, your first 2 years worth of growth by, doing things that are on the front end quite easy and on the back end might well be sophisticated, but also might not be. And that's just a nice place to be as an investor.
Exciting.
You kind of know what you're doing.
To me, that goes down to just the nature of media. Because there are hits, that money has to move.
Yep. Yep. I mean, what is it? Second biggest, line item for most companies after people and maybe after the, physical cogs of their product, is media and or is advertising. And just generally speaking, it's a nice environment to sort of buy and sell into. And therefore I think as an investor, it's a good place to invest.
One of the things I predicted is that AI would finally cause a split in ad tech between enterprise and SMB, who've been using the same tools for most of the 20 years of ad tech. And I feel really good about that prediction now as the enterprise AI rolls out. Actually, let's go to our next segment because we decided to focus on OpenAI for a new segment we have called Hot Shit or Horse Shit. And the team prepared some numbers here. I'll go roughly, unless someone can bring up the numbers. Yeah, here's the hot shit or horse shit set. Seems to be a little more emphasis on the horse shit part. But OpenAI is the topic. If you're not familiar with the numbers, they're making, what was it, 4 or 5 billion a year or a quarter, and they're spending like 100. So a lot of people are like, duh, this is stupid. This doesn't make sense. They're gonna fail. And I'm on the hot shit side of this. I'm on the other side. Because if you start doing the analysis of on enterprise licenses, and I started with what Chalice is paying for an enterprise license for GPT-5 for a company of 45 people, and then just do some back of the envelope. How many more companies? What about the fact that they fund Copilot and everyone in the world has Microsoft? And don't they also power Cursor? I didn't say fun, but power. They power Cursor as well, right? Anybody got me on this?
Yeah, I think so. The
So
Microsoft
they also have very good distribution issue. Microsoft and Cursor distributing them and them getting paid on that, plus Enterprise ChatGPT 5. I ran the numbers and yeah, it gets to profitable. Like maybe there's like one lump of 100 billion that's lost as R&D, right? It doesn't, it gets written off as pure R&D, but I think it becomes a profitable company within 5 years. So based on the numbers I've run on the usage of enterprise GPTs, I'm going hot shit on OpenAI.
I'm a hot shit on OpenAI for a different reason. Because I saw a headline that OpenAI was reaching out to the U.S. government for a subsidy. And I'll preface this with I've been like slightly radicalized in the past 48 hours because I don't know if so. Did you guys know that China has built a space station in the past 4 years? Because they did. An ISS competing space station, fully operational, modern, like a spectacular feat, actually, which I had heard nothing about until I saw a video of some dudes in a space station grilling chicken wings, and our astronauts are hydrating their food with like hot water. So this blew my mind, right? I was like, oh my god.
I missed the OpenAI part.
But the reason this blew my mind is OpenAI is asking for government subsidies, right? And it just got me thinking, the upside for these technologies is so large, right? And OpenAI already makes such a big difference from a value creation perspective in the companies where it's operating. The reason those companies would pay for those licenses, right, Adam, is because it does create value. Like this is a real powerful tool that helps increase the output of people. And we're like in the first couple innings of this. Like that $1 billion R&D budget, who knows what comes next?
Yeah,
100
billion.
Yeah, 100 billion. And what got me, I was noodling is the coefficient here might be really, really, really high for the upside of these companies. It might be really high.
First thing I asked during research was, what's the penetration of enterprise GPT? And it's like 9%.
Yeah, and imagine like the knock-on effect on our economy if like all like jobs that can be enhanced by AI are enhanced by AI, and siphoning off a portion of that. Like we're talking percentages of the global economy here. I was just like, oh my gosh, if you look at it from that perspective, that it's going to meaningfully increase the productivity of basically every job that involves language, because that's what it's capable of doing. We can't invest enough. I'm not sure there's enough money there. Like everyone should be pouring money into this. Because the upside is almost like outside of the realm of imaginable. The actual upside on this.
Inconceivable!
I'm hot on this. I'm hot on the LLMs.
All right, Joe Zawadzki, OpenAI, hot shit or horse shit?
Yeah, I'm gonna pile on. I wish I could take the under, but obviously some risk of just not keeping pace with the other platforms, including the ones that are attached to non-US based companies. Pay attention to that, because if you are putting data centers and power stations and the like, and sort of fundamentally rethinking the cost model and therefore the compute, I could see why the US is feeling like it's an arms race, and should be supporting it at the sort of government level. We can leave that for a different topic. I think it is pretty profound. I think that the Sam Altman new bogey, right, is moving off the language models, right, and really saying, hey, can we use this to have some fundamental breakthroughs in sort of math and science, and like let's get out of the recursive predict next token in language. And then you start really thinking about I don't know if people heard the sort of hyperplane conversations that might have been in another sort of strategy or similar sort of podcast, but this idea that I think you start allowing hallucinations to effectively create sort of synthetic data, that then if you could also do testing in simulation, it isn't just recycling human knowledge, but is in fact pushing the sort of the state of the art. And if you think there's a 5% possibility that that's where we're at, then you better be investing a boatload of money in order to pursue that opportunity, right? Because if you are right, it is magnificent. And if you are wrong, you are very, very sad. So hot.
Yeah, man.
That's interesting. I didn't realize they were getting off text. Like, it was tough for my company that everyone's expectations moved to text. We were entirely back end and making customers happy. And then I think we didn't move for about a year after OpenAI came out on making prompt-based interfaces, because we're like, well, you don't really need them in ad tech. But then, it became overwhelming. The customer expectation became prompt-based interface. So we built them.
One observation here, connecting these two thoughts to sort of our world a little bit, is I think this industry is going to say, thank God for agencies and thank God for the pace of change. Right, in terms of that, the human processes are slower to evolve and adapt. Because if you take the twin forces of foundational model AI, right, which just call, like Sam Altman's literally said it, just stay out of the way of the bulldozer. Right? Like this thing is coming in every direction, because the only way the math works is if it's everywhere, and therefore we are going to invest in everything everywhere all at once, right? So stay out of the way of the bulldozer, thing one. And then you got to admit that Amazon, like your margin's my opportunity, right, coming at the ads industry from two places, right, coming head on, Amazon DSP, low margin. Hey, this thing is now a full featured platform that can compete favorably with some of the, the extant, the Googles and the TTDs in, our local sort of programmatic world. But then also AWS up with things like the, RTB Fabric and otherwise, where you're really pushing a lot of these workloads at the cloud level, as opposed to letting, full companies extract, full rents. With sales teams and with finance departments and with venture capital, returns anticipated. And if you just take OpenAI times Amazon, I think if you allowed both of those trends to happen at full pace, the whole Lumascape just gets eaten alive.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're like, okay, thank God the money is running through a bunch of planning processes and measurement processes to allow us enough time to channel this change, such that the startup environment just doesn't disappear. So go
Wow.
us.
I never new nightmare unlocked. I never thought that way before.
Yeah, the machines just consume it. I mean, it's really interesting. I was out with the OpenAI guys last night, and they were talking to me about the move away from language models and like the general applicability of LLMs
You were with
in
OpenAI people? I just said open ads.
OpenAI, not OpenAI. Yeah,
Oh, no,
OpenAI.
but you have to specify. Not Trade Desk open ads, not
No,
open.
no, no, no. The
The
guys who are
creative
the
startup.
startup had been there
creative startup.
first. Um, they're very salty about it.
They have
But
to
they're
change their
naturally
name. They have to change.
they have a trademark.
They're like the
filed trademark.
Warlocks.
They filed the trademark. They possess it.
For good luck. They should just change it.
This
It's
is
kind of a
good point.
generic name anyway. I don't
It's,
know.
they're open their
Here's what
eyes.
I think.
But they're certainly really in tune with this, and that a lot of these things that are very language driven right now will migrate to being symbolic systems that make a lot of these predictions in math. And I'm just putting my head in the sand in that and pretending that it's not happening, because it upsets my worldview. But it's amazing. I'm really hot.
All right. Did you guys prepare news? We could just talk about the news. It was earnings season and we have a finance guy, so we got to cover some earnings stuff. Joe, while you were talking, I couldn't help think of the largest independent DSP who's kind of standing between Amazon, OpenAI, presumably paired with Microsoft, and of course Google, who has made incursions in GCP into the AI ad tech world. What do you do if you're Trade Desk, and what do I do with my Trade Desk stock, in your opinion?
Hmm. Look, it's been obviously a topic for a lot of people, largely because the company has enjoyed such a unbroken string of up and to the right, in addition to kind of industry favorability, right? And I think this is the sort of first time in its maybe the last 2 or 3 quarters where both those things have been challenged, right? And I'm not sure which was chicken and which was egg, or they just happened at the same time, but it's a different place, I think, if you walk into most meetings and you're not embraced, but you're, challenged, and viewed sort of cynically or sort of skeptically. I think as a member of the team at Trade Desk, it's like that's got to feel weird. And then where you also just can't point to an inexorably up and to the right share price, but like, hey, some people are underwater now. All right.
Yeah.
And you can't bring in new people and basically like, oh yeah, see the last 19 quarters. It's like, no, this has some chop to it. And so everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the face, right? And I think there are organizations that are quite resilient or even anti-fragile from having gone through a bunch of shit. And I think this is kind of the Trade Desk is sort of in it right now, and how they kind of respond to what is sort of the first real kind of adversity. At a moment that might have felt like triumph, right? You might have had like a weakened Google and been able to take a couple laps. But the fact that I think the some of the OS bet didn't work out on the lockup exclusive supply on the Sight Sound and Motion front. I think got obviously Amazon is a real competitor. It is a thing. You can't put your head in the sand and pretend that it isn't. And then perhaps behind a cycle or two on the kind of agentification, largely because there's a incumbency bias, right? If you are the market leader, you want to measure and mete out change. You don't necessarily want to embrace it. And if you don't course correct enough to realize that you're in fact not the incumbent, or the thing that you're an incumbent in is itself a market that's under attack, you may just not act with the right urgency. And so I think all these things are coming together in a company that it has to figure it out. I do not count that leadership team out, even as it evolves. They are ruthless executors. And I think they managed to maintain sort of message consistency and alignment down the organization there in ways that few other companies can. So I think they have to do something. I think they have to open up a new front. I think they need to change the definition of what the DSP is, or what a, quote, open web platform is, in one vector or another. So I do think it does require potentially a big M&A for the first time in the company's history to kind of do something. It's going to suck to do it if you remember muscle memory that your stock price used to be, everything's now twice as expensive. But you got to get over it. So I would watch this space. I think there's probably another, big swing and a move there. And I do not count the trade desk out. Was that a long enough rant for that question?
Yeah, it's a good mix of diplomacy and real politic.
I feel like with the trade desk a little bit. Like, what's the quote? Like, and Caesar wept for there were no new lands to conquer.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of got there, and it's really hard to maintain your edge in that situation. And then Amazon popped up with all this data, and then Agentic came out while they were like, at this point where there was like only so much left for them to conquest.
Yeah.
And it's a confluence of all these things happening at once.
Well, take the extreme version of it, and if you do the agentic plus sell side decisioning, and the DSP ends up really being the stupidest of pipes, right? It is literally just a distribution channel to the legacy human trader that wants to log into a web-based UI to do B2B trading. Like, I mean, why did we ever think that was a good idea? We didn't even go mobile, right? We literally asked people to log into a desktop, web, like, makes no sense. And so if you really think the pace, they kind of lose their hold on the reins and on the demand side, then there's real vulnerability. Then the center can fall out. So watch
Like you said, there's a lot of brakes on the wave, right? This is a big wave and it will crash eventually, but there's like an undertow that's keeping it cresting and growing without really breaking. And that's this process-oriented, very conservative purchasing process.
Yep.
That even as it's moving money around across media, is guided by very old rules, very conservative purchasing process. So yeah, just the news that Trade Desk beat earnings yesterday, announced after hours, and then today they are down. The market did not like them beating. They're down 7% today, and 15% in the last 5 days. Some of it came in anticipation. So it's that's just to show what a hard road our friends at Trade Desk are plowing right now.
Yeah.
And the other news was that everyone had revenue up. Meta had revenue up, OpenAI's revenue up, Google and Amazon revenue up, and investors were not ecstatic because they'd all spent all that revenue already. Most of them didn't make any money at all. Meta's was the most surprising. Like, Meta was the one who's saying our AI is actually driving more revenue than before. Like, our ads are doing better, people are investing more because results have improved. So we're actually seeing incremental revenue from our AI investment. But their AI investment is so humongous that an investor still has to be like, yeah, but first 100 billion on the metaverse, and now 100 million each per data scientist. Like, this is crazy. Like, how much better are you going to get results?
How awesome the Google Apple deal, right? You just think about how much Google was paying for search, primacy and search for sort of distribution, and it was just a massive check going from Google to Apple every year. And now, what is it, $100 billion for the 1.1 sort of trillion?
5 times as much to use Gemini for Siri.
It's amazing, right? And how must Apple feel just sliding a check over of that size and scale? And how delighted must Google be to be like, we are just killing it despite all this ad stuff. It is working.
Oh,
I mean, do you think Apple ran an RFP for that? Do you think they
probably?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
how is Gemini the best to run Siri?
They talk about GDN being vestigial, right? They said that in this earnings, didn't they? We don't really care about this business anymore. And we all knew this, but now they're really explicitly saying it. Like, this is just just immaterial to us. And part of that is probably playing to regulators, right, as remedies come out. But like,
Yeah.
the other part of it is there's some truth to it. Like, that's a thing.
But step back. I mean, ads are in quite literally the engine of the economy. I mean, Google's has used search and YouTube and open web ads to fuel its cloud ambitions, to fuel its AI ambitions. Amazon, fastest growing, most profitable business unit. Advertising. Everything else is sort of a lost leader to get into ads. We joke about it, and people are often the kind of accidental marketers that sort of stumble into this industry. And there's always the joke about, world's best minds getting people to click on banners. But like that conversion power of, taking advertising revenues and advertising profitability and advertising growth and using it to do other things. Look at the scoreboard.
Yeah.
While
Right?
simultaneously fueling the economy, right? Becoming the discovery engine for commerce itself. Yeah, we're just,
Yeah.
oh, man,
I gave
we're
a
just-
speech about this at the Chalice offsite this week. I'm sorry you missed it, but it was very moving, right? Chalice marketing team. Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's
Go ahead.
possible TikTok had some influence on the New York City mayoral election. I think it might have.
Yeah, I did advertising.
Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah. Well, he's good at media.
TikTok. He's the TikTok king. He's amazing at it.
So
Yeah, no more politicians who aren't good at media. That's over.
Hopefully they figure it out. Hopefully, like someone sends the memo out centrally, like, "Hey, you gotta be good at this. Can't be making those Andrew Cuomo videos because man, some of those were real tough. Like, helping someone like jumpstart her car, like struggling with it. It was the least genuine thing I've ever seen. But yeah, man, I didn't get to pitch my business idea, which is very much related to this, which is someone should sell celebrities digital out of home programmatically auctionable clothes where you can buy ad space on the clothes in an auction and the celebrity gets a cut. So turn clothing from an expenditure into a revenue generator. And this is my $10 idea that I brought to the show for you guys to noodle, where digital out of home can go hyper billboard personalized on people.
I mean, that sounds like a Rembrandt plus intersection mashup that could
Rent the Runway.
probably be implemented with an email. So
if Taylor Swift was wearing a shirt and it would display your brand for an hour of her day while she was just walking around, what's that worth? I think it's worth a lot.
No, I think this is actually a good idea.
60% of the time.
Correct.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for coming on.
we should wrap this up and go fund this thing.
All right, I'm in.
Let's do it. We're taking guests out for dinner in the week after the show now, so let's do that.
Oh yeah, that's the rules.
Although Casali picked up the check on us, so
He
no
just set the
pressure.
expectation.
Whatever you want.
Yeah,
Somewhere in Tribeca, I assume.
We could split it.
At least made it close.
yeah,
Yeah.
Tribeca, exactly. That's precisely right.
Omakase, that's fine. I know Adam likes it. Gareth, how are you on?
Oh,
Sushi guy too.
I'm an omakase human.
Done. We have a
All
plan.
right. Sorry, everyone else.
Sorry, guys. Thank you for coming, Joe. Thank you for coming, everyone. Thank you for chatting. Thank you
Come have
for
sushi with us.
Amazing. So much fun.
All right. Thank you. Have a good week.
guys.
Keep it up.
See
Bye.
you next week. Thanks, Pontiac.
Yo, the crowd is back, the lights are dim.